Welcome to Frontiers of Research. I'm Antoni, and today we're exploring the revolutionary field of green chemistry, a fundamental reimagining of how we create the materials and molecules that society depends on. I'm joined by my brilliant colleagues Sarah, whose research in sustainable catalysis has been pioneering, and Josh, who brings industry perspective on implementing green chemistry at commercial scale. Today we'll explore how chemists are developing processes that are not only effective but also environmentally responsible.
Thanks, Antoni. Green chemistry represents a profound shift in how we approach chemical synthesis and manufacturing. Traditionally, chemistry has focused primarily on yield, purity, and cost, with environmental impact treated as a secondary concern to be managed after production through waste treatment. Green chemistry flips this paradigm by designing chemical processes that prevent pollution from the outset. It's guided by 12 core principles developed by Paul Anastas and John Warner in the 1990s, which include waste prevention, atom economy, safer solvents, energy efficiency, renewable feedstocks, and inherently safer chemistry. The goal is to create chemical processes with the smallest possible environmental footprint while maintaining or enhancing performance and economic viability.
I'd add that green chemistry isn't just an academic exercise. It's becoming essential for industrial competitiveness. Companies are facing increasing regulatory pressure, consumer demand for sustainable products, and rising costs for waste disposal and hazardous materials management. The chemical industry is responsible for about 7% of global greenhouse gas emissions and generates substantial waste. By adopting green chemistry principles, companies can reduce compliance costs, improve worker safety, decrease waste management expenses, and often discover more efficient processes. We're seeing major chemical companies establish sustainability targets that explicitly incorporate green chemistry metrics. It's a rare case where environmental benefits and business advantages align.
Sarah, one of the principles you mentioned was atom economy. Could you explain what that means and why it's important?
Atom economy is a fundamental concept in green chemistry that measures how efficiently a chemical reaction uses its starting materials. In an ideal reaction with perfect atom economy, every atom from the reactants would end up in the desired product, nothing wasted. Traditional synthetic routes often have poor atom economy because they use stoichiometric reagents that become waste, or they involve multiple protection and deprotection steps that add and then remove atoms. For example, the traditional synthesis of ibuprofen had an atom economy of just 40%, meaning 60% of the atoms in the starting materials became waste. The redesigned green synthesis achieves nearly 80% atom economy. This principle pushes chemists to design more direct synthetic routes with fewer steps and to use catalytic rather than stoichiometric reagents. It's a powerful way to quantify and reduce waste at the molecular level.
You mentioned catalysis as an important aspect of green chemistry. How are innovations in catalysis contributing to more sustainable processes?
Catalysis is absolutely central to green chemistry. Catalysts enable reactions to proceed efficiently under milder conditions and with greater selectivity, reducing energy requirements and unwanted byproducts. There have been remarkable advances in several areas. Transition metal catalysts like palladium complexes have revolutionized carbon-carbon bond formation, allowing previously impossible transformations under mild conditions. Organocatalysis, using small organic molecules as catalysts, has emerged as a metal-free alternative for many reactions. Photocatalysis harnesses light energy to drive reactions that would otherwise require harsh conditions. And perhaps most exciting is the development of multifunctional catalysts that can perform sequential transformations in one pot, eliminating the need to isolate and purify intermediates. These catalytic systems are increasingly being designed to work in environmentally benign solvents or solvent-free conditions, further reducing their environmental impact.
Speaking of solvents, I understand they're a major focus in green chemistry. What alternatives are being developed to traditional organic solvents?
Solvents represent one of the largest sources of waste in chemical processes. They're used in vast quantities and often pose significant health and environmental hazards. The green chemistry approach involves several strategies. Water is the ultimate green solvent, and there's been tremendous progress in developing water-compatible catalysts and reagents. Supercritical carbon dioxide is another exciting alternative. It has tunable properties, leaves no residue, and uses waste, CO2. Ionic liquids, salts that are liquid at room temperature, offer negligible vapor pressure and can be designed with specific properties. Bio-based solvents derived from renewable resources like ethyl lactate or 2-methyl tetrahydroxy Björkau, Arteencheesen, R-star are replacing petroleum-derived solvents. And perhaps most radical is the concept of solvent-free reactions, where reactants interact directly without any solvent medium. Each alternative has its appropriate applications, and the choice depends on the specific requirements of the process.
Josh, I've heard that enzymes and biological systems are increasingly being used in chemical manufacturing. How is biocatalysis being implemented in industry?
Biocatalysis has become a game changer for the chemical industry. Enzymes are nature's catalysts. They operate under mild conditions, in water, with exceptional selectivity. This makes them ideal green chemistry tools. We're seeing widespread industrial adoption, particularly in pharmaceuticals. For example, the synthesis of sitagliptin, a diabetes medication, was redesigned to replace a high-pressure rhodium-catalyzed hydrogenation with an engineered transaminase enzyme. This eliminated the need for specialized equipment, reduced waste by 19%, improved yield, and enhanced product purity. Advances in protein engineering, directed evolution, and high-throughput screening have dramatically expanded the toolkit of available enzymes. Companies can now engineer enzymes to perform reactions not found in nature or to operate under industrial conditions. The field is moving beyond single enzyme transformations to multi-enzyme cascades that can convert simple starting materials into complex products in one pot. It's a perfect example of learning from and improving upon nature's chemistry.
Another technology I've heard about is continuous flow chemistry. How does this approach contribute to greener processes?
Continuous flow chemistry represents a fundamental shift from traditional batch processing to continuous manufacturing, and it offers numerous green chemistry advantages. In flow systems, reactants are continuously pumped through reaction channels or tubes, allowing for precise control of reaction parameters like mixing, temperature, and residence time. This enhanced control typically leads to higher selectivity and fewer byproducts. The improved surface-to-volume ratio enables better heat transfer, reducing energy requirements and minimizing the risk of runaway reactions. Flow systems also allow for the immediate use of unstable intermediates and integration of multiple steps without isolation, dramatically reducing solvent use. From a safety perspective, the small reaction volumes minimize hazards when working with dangerous reagents. Many pharmaceutical companies are transitioning to continuous manufacturing. Pfizer, Novartis, and GSK have all invested heavily in flow chemistry platforms. The FDA has even created initiatives to encourage this transition because of the quality and sustainability benefits.
Sarah, a key aspect of sustainability is moving away from petroleum-based starting materials. How is chemistry adapting to use renewable feedstocks?
This is a critical frontier in green chemistry. For over a century, the chemical industry has relied predominantly on petroleum for carbon-based building blocks. The transition to renewable feedstocks involves several approaches. First, there's direct substitution, creating the same molecules but from bio-based sources. For example, ethylene, the most produced organic chemical, can be made from bioethanol instead of petroleum. Second, there's the development of new platform chemicals derived from biomass, like 5-hydroxymethylfurfuryl or levulinic acid, which can serve as versatile building blocks. Third, there's the creation of entirely new materials, designed around the natural structure of biomass components, like cellulose or lignin. The challenges include developing efficient conversion technologies, ensuring feedstock sustainability, and creating products with equivalent or superior properties to petroleum-based alternatives. It's worth noting that renewable doesn't automatically mean sustainable. We need to consider the entire life cycle, including land use, water consumption, and competition with food production.
Josh, could you share some specific examples of green chemistry implementation that have been particularly successful in industry?
There are several inspiring success stories. One classic example is the redesigned synthesis of ibuprofen by BHC Company, which reduced the process from 6 steps to 3 and eliminated large quantities of waste. Merck's synthesis of sitagliptin using engineered enzymes, which I mentioned earlier, won a Presidential Green Chemistry Challenge Award. Sherwin-Williams developed water-based acrylic alkyd paints that reduce VOC emissions by 60% compared to conventional solvent-based paints. Elevance Renewable Sciences has commercialized metathesis catalysts to convert plant oils into specialty chemicals previously made from petroleum. And perhaps most impactful is the development of safer alternatives to phosgene, a highly toxic gas traditionally used to make polyurethanes and polycarbonates. Companies like Asahi Kasei and Chimay have developed phosgene-free processes using carbon dioxide as a safer building block. These examples demonstrate that green chemistry can succeed across diverse sectors and chemical processes.
How do chemists and companies actually measure the greenness of a process? Are there standardized metrics?
This is a crucial question because we need quantitative measures to guide improvement. Several complementary metrics have been developed. The E factor, developed by Roger Sheldon, measures the ratio of waste to product. Lower is better, with pharmaceutical processes traditionally having E factors of 25-100. Process mass intensity, PMI, measures the total mass of materials used per mass of product. Atom economy, which we discussed earlier, measures the percentage of reactant atoms incorporated into the final product. Life cycle assessment, LCA, takes the broadest view, examining environmental impacts across the entire product life cycle, from raw material extraction through manufacturing, use, and disposal. Companies often use a combination of these metrics, along with specific indicators for energy use, water consumption, and hazardous substance reduction. The pharmaceutical industry has been particularly active in developing standardized green metrics through initiatives like the ACS Green Chemistry Institute's Pharmaceutical Roundtable. The challenge is balancing comprehensiveness with practicality. The most thorough assessments require significant resources to complete.
As we look to the future, what do you see as the most promising research directions that could accelerate progress in green chemistry?
I see several exciting frontiers. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are revolutionizing how we discover and optimize chemical reactions, allowing us to explore vast chemical spaces more efficiently and identify greener pathways. Electrosynthesis, using electricity rather than chemical oxidants and reductants, is experiencing a renaissance, offering cleaner ways to drive chemical transformations. Photochemistry is harnessing abundant solar energy for chemical synthesis. The integration of multiple catalytic functions into single systems is enabling more efficient one-pot transformations. And perhaps most fundamentally, we're seeing a shift toward designing chemicals with the end of their life cycle in mind, creating molecules that perform their function effectively, but then degrade safely in the environment. The field is increasingly interdisciplinary, bringing together chemistry, biology, materials science, and engineering to address complex sustainability challenges.
Thank you, Sarah and Josh, for this fascinating exploration of green chemistry. We've covered the fundamental principles guiding this field, innovations in catalysis and solvents, the rise of biocatalysis and flow chemistry, the transition to renewable feedstocks, and metrics for assessing environmental impact. What's clear is that green chemistry isn't just about reducing the environmental footprint of chemical processes. It's often leading to more efficient, safer, and economically viable approaches. As regulatory pressures increase and resources become more constrained, these principles will likely become not just preferable, but essential for the chemical enterprise. The convergence of new technologies like AI, advanced catalysis, and continuous manufacturing with green chemistry principles promises to accelerate this transformation. Join us next time for more explorations at the frontiers of research.